In October of 1994, Gertie and Champ hosted the Parker Reunion in Delaware. My sisters Maggie and Mildred and I flew back to Dulles and stayed with Marie and Al for about a week. We not only enjoyed the reunion, but we took several side trips throughout the countryside there in Maryland and in Delaware. It's really beautiful back there during the fall of the year. Well, this is Dulles Airport here where Marie and Al and their son Hardy picked us up.
Take the lens cap off.
Is that it?
When we got to their home in Delaware, Marie had a cake waiting for us, a welcome to Delaware cake. There were a few little uninvited guests you might be able to see at the rim of the cake platter there. Hardy had brought some aunts up from Florida. This is Mildred with her namesake, the wild onion. That's the tribe of Cherokee she belongs to, we think. This is how most of our little side trip started. Marie was usually the tour director for most of these. So we're on our way down to the Longwood Gardens.
Down where you can take it is all you need. You get that feeling of traveling and what you see it.
You'll have to excuse the windshield. Marie didn't wash it this morning.
Yeah, Marie didn't clean that windshield right there.
Now these are some cackling geese that really intrigued Marie and Maggie. One little foreign duck in there. Now this is not a talkie, so you be quiet, Mildred.
That's the background, right, Will?
Marie, you're not supposed to fondle them, handle them, shake them off, or look at
She
them.
gets a picture of it. Maggie, take all the pictures. The wind is blowing it.
If you ever get back to Delaware or Maryland, don't fail to go to these Longwood Gardens. They were built or created by the DuPont family, and they're absolutely gorgeous. They're one of the most beautiful formal gardens I've ever seen. The DuPonts imported literally thousands of different exotic variety of plants over many decades to and put them in and landscape them into this area. They have a huge arboretum here with a lot of the exotic flowers. Probably one of the better ones was their orchid display. And that's where Maggie and the other monkeys had lunch.
I thought that was down in the forest.
course, some people can't leave well enough alone. They have a beautiful water show here. It lasts about 15 to 20 minutes, but we're not going to bore you with the whole thing. Just give you a little flavor of it. And Carrie says it looks like they broke the sprinkling system and the water got away from them.
Yeah, yes you did. Yeah, and then there's another one out on the ground too. Almost a rainbow.
Look at the haze still.
In our wanderings around the gardens, one of the more exotic trees we found was a prehistoric, unsavory female ginkgo. As you can see, the crowd there is very appropriate.
He said, I'm eating.
Except for Al. I don't know how he got in there.
They're never going to catch him.
Here's two of the prehistoric Indian maidens. They're going to try to catch dinner. Well, it doesn't look like we eat tonight.
Okay.
There it is. What? Hurry up there again. Yeah.
Everybody in now.
Everybody gets in. Mildred, you're next.
And this is the way we load up.
I'll be the end of the two.
It's never simple loading Marie up. The reunion was held on Saturday the 15th of October at Killens Pond State Park, which is just outside of Felton, Delaware. You could see in the background there was some renegade photographer trying to get videos too. You'll notice that everybody has jackets on. Well, it was chilly out there that day, and there was a hard wind blowing. Fortunately, they had put up a bunch of tarps for a windbreak there in the pavilion, so it was pretty comfortable while we were eating. This was definitely a game for the younger set. You could see the wind in the background, but it wasn't too cold to play football. It's not exactly your Monday night football photography here. who was the only brave female of the bunch. This is Al Price Jr. with his granddaughter Paige. I believe this is the youngest of Aunt Cora's descendants, the great-great-granddaughter of Cora Parker. Marie and Maggie took tons of pictures, particularly Marie, and identified most of the people in the photograph. So we're going to try to go through the photographs now and identify everyone that was at the picnic. Unfortunately, we're sure we've missed at least 2 or 3 people, and for that we apologize.
Everybody look at the sun. At the sun? All right.
Thanks. Wait a minute. Good old sun. It's going to go away soon. Better enjoy it.
Did you figure out what we got, right?
We got it?
Everything's all done.
This is Champ and Gertie Parker's family. I must mention that this whole family actually hosted the reunion, and for that we thank them. Now from left to right, standing, we have Arlene, Champ, Gertie, James, and Patricia. Kneeling are Thomas, Helen, and Joe Jr.
The camera and shoot.
Come on, you guys. You got something to say, I'm sure. Hi or wave.
It's like, hurry up, you know. Say hi. Yeah, video ones.
This is Marie and Alan.
Here we have the Al and Marie Price family. In the front, from left to right, are Scott, Rochelle, Marie holding Paige Marie, her great-granddaughter, and Philip. In the back row from the left is Sherry, Al Jr., Ricky Jr., Holly, Richard, and Alphys. The Price family continues here. From the left we have Sherry, Rochelle, Joelle, Holly, and Paige. And in the background a camera-shy Al Jr., alias Hardy.
You gotta get in this right here. Right here.
You know, they gotta show me how to work the thing first. I guess it's basic.
This way.
I know, James, but you gotta figure out how to go this shit.
You better take the cover off of it.
See? We don't know how to work it. Hold up.
There starts. You show me the
I
button
thought you'd give us some of it.
You gotta look through there.
Turn the power. You got the power on?
Next we have the Thomas and Jenny McCann family. In the front row kneeling are Amy and Jason. In standing from the left are Thomas and Jenny, Thomas Jr., little Tommy III, Mary, Chad, Kim and Eric Staley, Courtney McCann, Pam and Jeff Staley.
Settle down. Graham. What's this? You looking for your daddy? I see daddy. Graham, looking for a sit on you.
Okay.
Here we have the Grumbine family. From the left, we have John Grumbine Jr. Kneeling are Joanne Boyd with John Jr.'s daughter Elaine. Then Margaret and Johnny Grumbine. And last, Joel and Penny Hornock with their son Graham.
I guess so. That's three. I guess we're. Is that good enough?
Hey, Joey, get out of the way. Get out of the way. I'm just getting Tommy.
All right, now and then you're next.
For the next several groups, we're going to have the families of Champ and Gertie's children, one by one. First here we have the Thomas Parker family. We have Linda Parker, Tommy Parker Jr., and Thomas.
Ah, there she is.
Not coffee.
Here we have Joe Parker Jr.'s family with Stacy, Joe, and their daughter Andy.
Grant. There you are. Rodney Bradley. Don't Grant.
Give you this urn. This is your seat, folks. You probably got a bigger field problem. Tell Uncle Bob your name. See? This is your folks.
We need a panoramic for this crowd.
Okay. Let me know.
Here we have the Patricia Davis family. In the back row we have Kenny, Patricia or Patty, Kimberly, and Rodney. In the front row, and here we apologize, we have an unknown lad in his orange shirt. Then we have Bradley, another unidentified child. Then Wendy, Heather, and Charles.
Stand up, too. You can stand up. I'm just holding there. Look towards the camera, sweetheart.
All right, Jason, smile.
All right, we done? Everybody got that and all that? That's good, right? That's good, right?
In this photo, we have the James Parker family. Kneeling, we have James with his daughter Erin, and in the back, his wife Ruth and their son Jason. Next, we have Champ and Gertie's daughter Arlene with her husband, Robert Snyder.
Stop!
Here, I got all the emotions.
Okay, you got them all good.
Moving right along, we have the McLaren family. And from the left, we have Helen, Champ and Gertie's daughter, her husband Gary, daughter Dee, and her friend Bob.
There are these two roads back there behind all these stores.
This is Willis, Maggie, Marie, Champ, Gertie, and Elvis.
Last and least, we have that motley group from out west with their hosts and hostesses for the week. From the left are Al, Gertie, Champ, Willis Marie, Willie, Mildred Reynolds, and Maggie Langsbury.
Everybody get up there.
And finally, we have a panoramic shot of the entire group at the reunion. So as not to bore you, we're going to have to hurry along with the names. So if I could have a drum roll, please. Here we have Joe and Gertie, Arlene, Champ, Gertie, James, Patricia, Kneeling, Thomas, Helen, Joe Jr., Thomas, Jenny, Thomas Jr., Little Tommy, Mary, Chad, Kim, Merrick, Staley, Courtney, McCann, Pam, and Jeff. From left to right, Sherry, Rochelle, Joel, Holly, Page, Al Jr., Scott, Rachel, Marie, Page, Philip, Sherry, Al Jr., Ricky, Holly, and Alfred. Stacy, Joe, and their daughter Andy, Linda Parker, Tommy Parker, and Thomas. John Grumbine Jr., Kneeling Ann Boyd with John Jr., daughter Elaine, Johnny, Margaret, Jenny, son Grant. Kenny, Patty, Kimberly, Rodney, Bradley, Wendy, unknown, Heather, Charles, James, Aaron, Ruth and Jason, unknown, Champ, Gertie's daughter Arlene,
husband, Gary, daughter Dee, Bob. Alpha Study Camp, Willie, Marie, Mildred, Maggie.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm tired. It's good. Okay, that's it. That's it. Come back here.
Okay, this is Joseph Shelby, the Civil War general. This is where our grandfather's name is.
Go ahead, tell me about that. Okay, Joseph Shelby was called the greatest Confederate cavalry commander in the West by his nemesis, Alfred Pleasanton, the Union cavalry commander. That puts him up there with Jeb Stuart and with Bedford Forrest. And he was the commander of the Iron Brigade. And he was so revered that our I believe our great-great-grandfather named his son after him.
That's where Joseph Shelby Underwood got his name.
They said he never surrendered after the Civil War. He went with a party down into Mexico. He was an unreconstructed Southerner.
Number 23. 23.
A rather unique touch to this reunion was that everyone got a present from Gertie and Champ. Each name tag had a number on it, and when your number was called, you received your present. Everyone from little kids to great-grandpas got a present. I got a very beautiful clock. Actually, it was a wooden deer with a clock in the middle. It's hanging on my wall. Sounds like some people can't read their numbers. 54, where are you? As the reunion winds down, we again would like to thank Champ and Gertie for all the planning, hard work, and a wonderful reunion.
Did I have my finger? Just us three? Okay, Rachel, get out. Rachel, you take this one. The day after the reunion, Al and Marie took Mildred, Maggie, and myself
on a trip down to Baltimore and around the Chesapeake Bay. This whole area down here is the city of Baltimore down on the wharfs. This used to be a real ratty area, and they've put in, I guess, hundreds of millions of dollars, making a beautiful new tourist center and a shopping area. They really have done a nice job combining the old and the new here. They really have big crowds here too. The old Constellation is kind of a museum there, and you can see this is a giant propeller they've got standing on end there. When you get older, you can't step as high, so you have to hire a footman.
Thank you.
They're not exactly heavy tippers. We got lost a little bit trying to find Annapolis, but we finally did. And this is the Naval Academy across the bay there, down in Annapolis. They're always trying to locate all these birds for Maggie. I think she's up a tree there somewhere looking for him. The day before the three of us headed back to the west, Al and Marie took us on a day trip, sightseeing, and we went into D.C. And that night we stayed at the Dallas airport, so we didn't have to get up too early the next day. No matter where we went, Marie always had a lunch packed. We went through some little renovated towns on the way down and stopped at probably the world's smallest park right here on Chesapeake Bay. You can see the big waves here coming in. This actually is the old ferry landing between Delaware and New Jersey before they built that bridge in the background. This is one of the old historical towns that had gotten run down and they renovated. This is the town of Newcastle. That's the town of Baltimore there on the way down to D.C. You'll notice that the picture is much clearer, not so many bugs splattered since Al washed the windshield. We spent a lot of our sightseeing day in Washington, D.C. there at the National Museum of Natural History. I think these trilobites are about 1 billion years old. I'm not sure of that. They have a lot of old fossils wandering around here. This museum has so many beautiful displays, and you could spend a whole week there and not see everything. The birds are one of Maggie's favorites, so we spent quite a bit of time there. This is the original Smithsonian building here in D.C. All of the places or buildings we visited there border on the mall, the famous Washington, D.C. Mall. At one end of it is the Capitol Building, not the White House, Capitol Building. And at the other end is the Washington Monument. Maggie, Mildred, and myself really want to thank Al and Marie for the wonderful week we had back there and putting up with us tourists, showing us all around the Delaware and Washington, D.C. area. This is February of 1995, and this is Cora Parker's house in Beulahville, North Carolina. This is the bedroom in her house where my sister Maggie and I stayed the first night we went back to celebrate her birthday. This is a picture of Althea Jane Underwood, who was Aunt Cora and Willis's sister. She was the third child, and she died at about 1.5 years of age. Also in the bedroom here were some old photographs of Oklahoma where they lived. This is a picture of Aunt Cora and her horse Rags, taken back in Oklahoma. This is Aunt Cora, my dad Willis, and their mother and father, Joseph Shelby and Margaret Underwood. This is the Rafferty family. The young boy there in front is Lester, who still lives in Vinita, Oklahoma. And this is Martin Jones, the grandparents, my dad and Aunt Cora's. This is the front room of her house here in Beulahville. Aunt Cora was born February 1st, 1895. And this is the day before her 100th birthday. We stayed overnight at her house before going on into Atlantic Beach, where she stays now.
Now, backing up the Cherokee there, we stayed here the first night in the front of Aunt Cora's house.
This is the outside of her house here, and a very unique tree there in front. This is a crepe maple. And quick as a wink, we're 60 miles away in Atlantic Beach. This is the next day, and we're here to celebrate Aunt Cora's 100th birthday. If Aunt Cora doesn't seem happy here, well, she really wasn't very happy. She was feeling very poorly the day before, and even today on her birthday. But she put up with a lot of fussing around with from a lot of us.
I want you to see the writing.
Becky, Jerry, they give you this card for your birthday. Wishing you a bouquet of love today and a garden of happiness throughout the year.
Happy birthday, Parker.
So that will too.
Aunt Cora received an awful lot of cards and presents from not only her children, but a lot of friends. Like I said, she wasn't feeling too well, but I'm happy to say a couple of days later she felt much better. This was a present sent to her by one of her grandnephews, Jerry Hoosier. He paints those on rock.
Wait just a minute, Rose. That's Maggie, Mom. So her 100th birthday, February the 1st, 1995. Maggie is what?
Your brother.
Maggie Willis.
Of course, Aunt Cora was well known for her rendition of Falling Leaves.
Willis's daughter.
In fact, my grandfather on my mother's side used to sing that, and we were absolutely amazed when we discovered Aunt Cora and found out she knew the song.
You sing that, Mom? That is your song.
Turn it around so we can see it.
It's beautiful.
So my sister Maggie decided she would write the song out and put it in a frame for Aunt Cora.
Are you in there getting the camcorder?
Is that better?
Well,
Okay, well.
no, I'm out.
Maggie, that is really bad.
You did a gorgeous job. Do it again. Gorgeous job. Do it again.
Do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on and sing it.
They want you to sing it, okay?
Sing it for me.
Far beyond the rolling prairie, for the Georgia
Forest rise, dwells the sweetest little maiden ever seen by mortal eyes. She was smiling like the sunlight, daughter of
an Indian chief, came to bless their home and all alone, and they called her Fallen Leaf.
Very important birthday as you're looking back from God on all the lovely memories your 100 years have brought. It's good to share your heartfelt joy and wish you special pleasure as you recall the happiness and memories you treasure. Have a wonderful day. Love, Willis Jr. and Carrie Wilson.
Now do it again for me.
Rerun, rerun.
Look at that. You need to see their cards.
She's not even looking at it. Turn her around so I can see it.
Yeah.
You know, you make a real Westerner, don't you?
Okay, Willis.
I don't think Aunt Cora recognized this picture at all. It was taken back around 1924.
And someone on whom I can always depend. Wishing you a happy birthday, a happy year, and happiness always. Archie. Birthday. Love, Son Champ, and wife Drew. February the 1st, 1995.
That pretty little butterfly.
That is beautiful.
Isn't that?
It's got butterflies on it.
Yeah.
That champion crew.
You know what, Cora, bless her heart, she just didn't feel good, but she was up for about, as I recall, about 6 hours that day.
So guys, this is Lena. This is hair. Ooh, isn't that pretty? Oh, I see it. Look, action. You put a boogie.
That is pretty, Mom. See that?
That is pretty.
Marie. That pretty?
I knew, I was sure when you
I'm telling you, I don't have a world.
Don't put it in the floor.
Mom.
I think when you put her on her shirt.
Look at that. Ain't that pretty?
Yeah, I was sure when you did that.
Your beer rose garden.
Marie.
These are just smelly stuff, okay?
I'm glad she got to feeling much more like her ornery self a couple, 3 days later.
Well, that was quick. Hey,
She swallowed the first one, champ.
Smell.
You want to smell it?
What's there?
Anyway, thing I lost. Maggie, you can focus it on my film right now. Put them all around in front of her.
Yeah.
Let me see that picture. I didn't see it. I hit it with the camera. I fevered.
Do you think you could sing? Build another house. Okay.
That worked, didn't it?
It was really fortunate that 8 of Aunt Cora's 10 children could be at Atlantic Beach to celebrate her 100th birthday. Unfortunately, Margaret was sick and could not attend, and of course, her oldest son Jack had passed away in the fall of 1994. It was also nice to see Julia there, the gal in the middle with the yellow blouse. We were so fortunate she brought 2 great big cabbage collards over, so we got to have collard greens for the first time in our life. What a poetic book, Age Erasers for Women. Aunt Cora could read the title, but I'm not sure she could read what's in there. As you can tell from some of these pictures with the heavy coats, it was really cold here at Atlantic Beach in February. We spent quite a bit of time on the beach, or beach combing I should say, and taking pictures of sunsets. I was fascinated by these pelicans flying along, and a seagull came by, and you can see him just about coming into center. If you'll watch, he's going to drop something. I don't know what made me focus on him, but he's going to drop a big clam and go down and eat it. Pretty lucky shot. Of course, it wasn't lucky for the clam. Oh, I should tell you, all during our trips in Delaware, we always had to get pictures of sunsets. And as you saw, we only got one really good sunset. But they had some beautiful sunsets here at Atlantic Beach with the storm clouds. And believe it or not, the sun does set in the west at Atlantic Beach, in the ocean. These are the gals, Lena and Joan, who hosted the centennial celebration at their house there, and we want to thank them very much for a wonderful time. As you'll notice in their yard here, besides those 3 pelicans, they've preserved a lot of the trees around there, and you see a lot of old gnarled trees that have been all twisted by the wind. It's really a beautiful place.
This is the front of Jonah's house.
Behind the light. Okay, I got you. This is a pelican roost, Lena and Joan. Well, I'm there. I probably got your feet cut off, but that's okay.
That's all right. We don't need them anyway.
That's all right. And here is the pelican roost, and here's the pelicans on it.
We did not have the opportunity to know Jack very long before he died, but felt fortunate to have known him for that short time. Words are somehow inadequate to express our sorrow to his friends and loved ones for his untimely death. It is for this reason that this video is dedicated to Jack. What follows are a few pictures from Jack's life. We are very thankful to Marie for collecting these pictures for us and for her suggestion that this video be so dedicated.